All right, what's up, everybody? My name is T Greene. Welcome back to Gun Lounge TV. I haven't done a video in quite a while. I have things to do. So I'm back and here to just kind of talk about gun types. So just getting some feedback from a friend of mine. They suggested that I basically talked about just general common terms, as they said, hey, video last time about gun safety was good, but I had no idea what you were talking about in some of the terms that you used. So I suggested that I just kind of basically break everything down from the basics and just go from there. And I guess it provides more content for the page. So yeah, so we're gonna do that today. Like I said, we're gonna talk about gun types. And if you imagine this like a pyramid, I'm going to like break it down from the basics, most simple, and then kind of spread out information as it gets more complex and more in depth. So also, keep in mind, I'm not a professional. This is just stuff, this is all stuff that anyone can Google or YouTube or just read on the internet. I didn't go to school for to be a gunsmith or anything like that. Like, I just learned this stuff just from research and digging and finding out what I can find because I was extremely curious. I wanted to make sure I knew a lot about firearms before I kind of just dove in. All right, so talking about handguns, there are two primary types of handguns. All right, you have your revolvers. This is a North American Arms 22 long rifle here. It's a very small revolver, but you'll see why I'm using that in this video in just a second. And then you have your semi-automatic handguns, right? And they are come in various different actions and stuff, so we'll go deeper into that later. But again, this is my Ruger SR9C. I used this in the last video. So revolvers. All right, revolvers can be broken down into two different types, your single action and your double action. This here is a single action revolver, and just to go over the basics of it. So the reason I'm using this is so I can show you, I can actually take the cylinder out of this revolver and show you what happens when you actually fire the revolver. So basically, single action revolvers, you have to pull this hammer back each time you want to fire the weapon. All right, so each time you want to fire the weapon. So if you've ever seen the old school cowboy movies where they're like, they hold their finger on the trigger and they're like pow 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 pow, right? Those are your single action revolvers. The hammer has to come back each time you want to pull the trigger and fire it. So actually pulling the trigger while the hammer hasn't been cocked back will do absolutely nothing on a single action. All right, the cylinder is what houses the cartridges or the rounds that you're going to be firing from your revolver. All right, each time you pull, yeah, sorry, I should have known that was gonna happen. All right, so each time you pull this back, it rotates to where the next hole is, where the next round is going to be, right? And you pull the trigger and you fire it, and you pull it again, and you see how it's rotating again with each pull of the hammer. Each time the hammer is
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
is cocked back. All right, so in a double action revolver, you don't have to pull the hammer back each time. You can pull the hammer back, and it will give the firearm a much lighter trigger pull. But you also can, in a normal revolver, I don't have a standard revolver. I just got this because it's kind of a novelty and I like it. My wife loves this thing, but I like it because it's kind of a novelty piece. In a normal double action revolver, you could just pull the trigger and it will perform two actions I guess that's why it's called double action, right? So you pull the trigger and the hammer will come back and fire, right? In a double action revolver. So single action revolvers, you have to pull the hammer back. Double action revolvers, you do not. But if you do, the trigger pull will be much lighter. And if you don't pull the hammer back on a double action revolver, the trigger pull will be a lot heavier as if you did. All right. Simple as that. So with revolvers, on one side you have the revolvers, you have a single action, and you have double action. Those are the two different types. All right. Now your semi-automatic handguns operate quite differently. So what happens is when you pull the trigger, well, first you'll put a magazine here in the bottom, right? And you're going to pull the slide back and pull the slide forward. When the slide comes forward, it takes a round and sits it here in the base of the barrel, right? Ready to fire. Okay, so when you actually fire the weapon, right? This is clear, right? There's nothing in here. I have not, whatever. So you pull the trigger. Okay, click. It's firing pin. The firing pin will hit the primer of the round, shooting the projectile forward, right? The primer will ignite. Hot gases and stuff push the projectile out of the barrel of the firearm. All right, and then when that happens, when you pull the trigger, you hear the click, the slide will perform this motion, right? The slide will go back, ejecting the brass or the cartridge, spent cartridge. Projectile's gone, it goes out the end of the barrel. The spent cartridge will eject from this section here, and when the slide goes back forward, okay, it will then move another round in that place, right? So you shoot the bullet, pops out. This spring here continuously allows to feed the handgun ammunition until all that ammunition has been spent. And that's the basics of how it operates. I hope that makes sense. There's several different ways that semi-automatic guns do this. I'm not gonna go too much into detail about that, but that's just the basics of it. I moved the camera a little bit so it may be a little different. So basically, that's a run of it. Semi-automatics are a little different, a lot different than revolvers. Revolvers have the cylinder that turn as you pull the trigger or pull the hammer back. Semi-automatics will continue firing once loaded until it's out of ammunition. Yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. One thing that's important is to know, is to make sure that with semi-automatic handguns, which is a little different than revolvers, is that you always want to make sure that there's not a round in the chamber. That's one thing that differs from semi-automatics and revolvers, which kind of makes revolvers maybe safer. I guess that's subjective. The revolver gives you the ability to see the rounds that are in the firearm without having to, with this, release the magazine, make sure that there's not a round here in the chamber. I guess that's safer, maybe. That's just depends on the person, what you think, I guess. But just because the magazine is out doesn't mean that this gun is safe. All right, that's one of the main differences, is because you can have a round randomly in the chamber, or have a round chambered, and not have the magazine in, and the weapon will still fire. Oh, there's something else I guess I can put in there as well, right? So, all right, so different types of ammunition. All right, we talked about the striker, the firing pin hitting the primer here. You have your ammunition that has the primer here in the middle, and your firing pin on whatever weapon you are using will strike that primer and cause the powder inside of the round to ignite, pushing the projectile down the barrel. Now, in these, let's focus on that. No, I'm gonna focus on that. Okay. All right. This is what is called a rim-fired cartridge or a rim-fired projectile. So, pretty much the same thing. The firing pin is just going to hit the edge or the rim of this cartridge and performs the same action, right? The powder is then ignited and pushes the projectile down the barrel. Again, same thing, same exact thing. All right, let's see, magazines and not clips. These are called magazines. This is not a clip. The level of irritation that one may get from hearing someone say magazine or clip will vary, but most gun people, will correct you or try to, make fun of you if you call it a clip, and it's not a clip. This is a magazine, all right? Also different again, with types of bullets, right? You have your hollow points, which have a hollow point to it, and you have your ball ammunition, which is like a ball on the end. These are going to be your target rounds. This is what you're going to go to the gun range and shoot your targets with. All right. This is what you're going to defend your home with, okay? Because one is, I imagine it's cheaper to make this. This, however, is made not to over penetrate. So in the event that you ever got into a gunfight, right? And you shot these at someone, this works just like this. I mean, it's the same exact, does this pretty much the same exact thing from the moment when the firing pin hits the primer, ignites the powder in the cartridge, and sends the projectiles down the barrel. The exact same thing, does the exact same thing. However, the difference is in once it hits the target, right? So once it hits the target, this is very likely, it's more likely that this will go through your target, as opposed to this that is made to mushroom out. And when I say mushroom out, the projectile itself will peel back in kind of layers. Maybe I can get an image of what a hollow point looks like upon impact. All this peels back from the hole, right, mushrooming out, and it causes the projectile to stay in the target or easily be stopped once it hits something. So, hope I explained that right. Hope that makes sense for everyone. But that's pretty much it. That's kind of what I got. Sorry if that's all over the place. That's kind of just off my head. I didn't really write notes or anything for that. Just kind of wanted to talk about that because I want everyone to be familiar with gun terms. If you guys think of any other terms for new gun owners that they need to know, any information that they need to know that gun owners should know, new gun owners should know, so that they are educated and we have more educated gun owners out there and not just people going all willy-nilly. All right. Again, like I said, I'm going to attempt to do a video every day. So wish me well. I'm hoping that they're all eventful. And I hope you are having a great day wherever you may be. And I will be talking to you later. All right, see you.